Playing Dungeons & Dragons online is a lot of fun. I'm going to show you a neat little trick that I use that really sells home the fact that you're playing Dungeons & Dragons on a virtual table. The conversation around virtual tables is starting to pick up. With the new D&D virtual tabletop that's going to be coming out in 2024, it's natural that people are starting to question exactly how you should be playing D&D online. Now, I've been doing a lot of work with different virtual tables with my sessions these days, and one of the key elements that I find is that virtual tables that push too far into the realm of replacing a player's imagination, that is, using fancy graphics, 3D modeling, etc., can run the risk of actually breaking the immersion of the game. But what if we lean into that breaking of the immersion? What I mean by that is, when you're going to create your virtual table, a lot of the different tables give you the option to upload a map or graphics to set the scene for your encounters. What I've done is I've actually leaned into the idea that we're actually playing a board game, but we're playing it in a virtual environment. So I've gone ahead and created a map or table layout that actually looks like we're actually looking at a table with the map, tokens, and all the items that you'd have at a real table right there on display. I'm going to give you an example, and for this example I'm using the Harpy 3D virtual table system. Now in Harpy they let you upload a flat 2D map, just like you would in any other virtual table. You can layer on 3D elements, but at the basic level it is a flat 2D map that you're going to be playing on. Now, in addition, you can actually bring in miniatures from Hero Forge and other 3D assets. But what I've done is I've created a very specific looking 2D map that's going to evoke the feel of playing Dungeons & Dragons at a real table. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So what we're looking at here is the Harpy virtual tabletop system. Now, Harpy allowed me to upload this in a 2D format, which basically serves as the foundation for my virtual tabletop. Now I'm going to zoom in and show you here that I've also outlined the sides of the table. So the map itself is actually right in the middle of an artificial table that I've created in Photoshop. I put things like pencils, dice, and a player's handbook, as well as some post-it notes along the sides of the table itself. The player miniatures can be placed on the side, and the players themselves can manipulate the miniatures and place them where they want to place them. Once they actually start moving them into the scene itself and into the terrain, it gives them a sense that they're actually moving miniatures on a table, just like they would be in real life, except for the virtual miniatures. Now here's a couple of tips that I recommend you use at your table. First off, don't necessarily allow the players to have full control over their miniatures or tokens, whatever you're using. Allowing the players to just observe the table and observe the setting without actually manipulating anything on the table gives them the sense that you're in control of the table. It also stops them from getting glitchy little fingers and moving their tokens all over the place and doing all the stuff that's going to break the immersion. Another thing to consider as well is by not allowing them actual use of their tokens, you can actually force them to explain what they're doing rather than just zipping their token across the map, or in some cases, if you have dynamic lighting enabled, just revealing everything that you've gone and planned. Making sure that you have control over your tabletop is not a bad thing. In actual fact, it's going to give you a little bit more control, and the immersion level is there because players are going to stop thinking of this as a video game and more as a simulation. Now I know I've said this many times before, but I can't stress how important it is. As we move forward into a new generation of playing Dungeons & Dragons and other role-playing games on virtual tables and online, I think it's very important that we look at how we're going to use these tools to enhance our games, rather than looking at them as a new way of playing. I think all tools are great, it's how we use them and how each Dungeon Master decides to bring them to their players. I hope that if you're actually going to be using a virtual table of your own, that you take some of these tips and apply them to your games. I think you'll find that they'll go a long way towards making your players' games a little bit more impactful, and I think using a virtual table might actually enhance their imagination. I hope you're all having fun playing Dungeons & Dragons out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Before you go, I need your help. I'm trying to grow the exposure of what we do here at Maverick Games. My goal is to actually bring information to parents and students around the world in hopes that they can see gaming as a path forward for learning, academics, and even support of neurodivergency. Please subscribe, make sure you click on those notifications, and I hope that you'll find content here that will be helpful for you and maybe others. Thank you very much, and thanks for tuning in.